to the kingdom. Cheers.
Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shah.
A toast to the king.
You elect will drink wine new with Yahweh Shai. You elect, as of right now we say hopeful elect. You elect of Israel out there will drink wine new with our Lord Yahweh Shai in his Father's kingdom, which is going to be the kingdom of heaven here on this planet Earth once Yahweh Shai returns. When our Lord comes back, one of the first things he's going to do is have a toast with his men. He's going to have a toast with his men, those that stood stiffly for his name and his Father's name. Let's read this one more time. Matthew chapter 26, verse 29. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, which is wine, which is made from grapes, as you know. And our Lord, he loves to drink, man. That's something that our Lord took pleasure in when he was here on this planet Earth. He's not going to do it anymore until he returns to do it with you. Showing just how much he loves his elect, man. He's not even going to drink until he does it again with you. I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. So what a moment that's going to be, man. And you can only imagine the quality of wine that's going to be. Our Lord Yahweh Shai, he has access to different things that we don't even know. Access to different grapes you don't know about. Has access to an entirely different quality of life that we don't know about. But he's going to reveal it to you. He's going to give it to you when he returns. Now, you have what's called a loyal toast. A loyal toast. I'm going to read this real quick. A loyal toast is a salute given to the sovereign monarch or head of state of the country in which a formal gathering is given. In this case, the sovereign monarch or head of state would be Yahweh Shai. He's our sovereign monarch. He controls everything, man. But guess what? He's also going to extend that power to you elect. He's going to share that power with you. A loyal toast is a salute given to the sovereign monarch or head of state of the country in which a formal gathering is given, or by expatriates of that country, whether or not the particular head of state is present. In this case, the Lord will be present. So you're not going to have someone speaking for him giving a toast. He's going to host the toast. He's going to be there, man. We're living in a time we're going to meet Yahweh Shai. You're going to meet him face to face, which is proof also that we have to be changed. We can't meet the Lord like this. He's going to change you. He's going to crown you, and he's going to toast with you. Now let's read some more. It says, it is usually a matter of protocol at state and military occasions and a display of patriotic sentiment at civilian events. The toast is usually initiated and recited by the host, which will be Yahweh Shai, before being repeated by the assembled guests in unison.
To the kingdom. Cheers.
Sometimes when Akim are among each other, we'll do little small toasts. Brothers may be like La Yasharala, holding up cups. But imagine the Lord himself hosting it, man. And we join in. And I was reading something else, and pretty much they said in order to have what they call a loyal toast, you will use wine. That's the beverage of choice. And once again, our Lord, he's coming back, and we're going to see him with all that power, man. But he's going to extend that power to you. Now, reading on a monarch, it says a monarch is a head of state for life or until abdication, in this case for life. And therefore, the head of state of a monarch may exercise the highest authority and power in the state. Or others may wield that power on behalf of the monarch. And that will be you joint heirs. You different men that are going to reign with the Lord, man. Usually a monarch either personally inherits the lawful right to exercise the state's sovereign rights, often referred to as the throne or the crown, or selected by an established process from a family or cohort eligible to provide the nation's monarch. In this case, the Heavenly Father Yahweh himself selected his son Yahushua. And once again, when our Lord returns, he's going to wield that power to you elect as well. Once again, he's going to change you, he's going to crown you, and he's going to have a toast with you. A kingly toast.
To the kingdom! Cheers! A toast with the king! Raise your glasses, my friends. A toast with the king! A toast with the king! Raise your bubbles, everyone. A toast to a prosperous future! To the king! To our glorious future! To the victors, blow the spoils, raise your glasses! Cheers! Raise your chalices to the golden age of our kingdom! A toast to the king!
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Makakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples of his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutation to the hopeful lake out there, word and truth, and this sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Shah. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Shai. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, all right, morning news and prophecy. All right, Babylon ready to throw in the towel and more news, you know, because what we're seeing, all right, is America's getting the shock of his life, man. Okay, which America, well, small hats, okay, drug America into this war, okay, and it's going completely the opposite how they planned this war would go, okay, and this is the will of Yahweh Bashem Shai. You know, it's a lot going on and things are happening fast, man. Things are happening real quick. You know, the Lord has really pushed the gas on prophecy, okay, with this latest event with these small hats, America and Iran, okay, because we're 10 days in, all right, and the whole earth, you know, is feeling the effects of this war. All right. And what we're seeing now is America, they want to save face. Okay. And they want to try to do a surrender to regather themselves. Okay. But Iran is like, nah, nigga, we not stopping until we say we gonna stop. Okay. So it's getting real interesting, man. And what we're seeing is America being embarrassed on a global scale. Okay. Babylon the Great is being made to look real foolish, being made to look real weak. Okay, and every nation is taking note. Every other nation is on the sideline, all right, taking notes seeing the dismantling, okay, of this Western Empire, man. Okay, things have changed, man. Whatever the elites got planned, they're gonna have to come on with it because things are changing, man. The Lord is really pushing the pace with prophecy, man. All right, and that's why the scriptures say, let's go here. Let's get some precepts, and then I got quite a few videos, so it's probably gonna be a marathon today. But we're gonna get into some things, a lot going on, and it's beautiful how the Lord got this thing set up, man. Okay, so let's go here. Before we get into that, let's get this in Revelation 12 and so let's go here, Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. And it says, therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you that dwell in them, in the presence of the Most High. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you in great wrath, knowing that he has only a short time remaining. Okay, knowing that he have but a short time remaining. All right, and the Lord got prophecy really putting pressure on the devil till he has a short time remaining. Okay, the Lord is not allowing Esau, all right, to be comfortable and try to establish a new world order. No, this nigga is wearied in his counsel. He's frantic. Okay, and with these latest events, man, all right, this really forces the devil to have to come on with his play. Okay, because before this, the devil was dragging his feet, talking about Cuba next and Ecuador, and we're gonna take Greenland, and the nigga he dragging his feet. Okay, but we knew prophecy was gonna lead this man to doing this. This is his end. Okay, this war with Iran, this put his death certificate on the desk, on the table. Okay, and when he makes the MOTB mandatory, that's him signing his death certificate. That's the end of Esau's rulership. The MOT mandate is the end of this man's rulership, man. Okay, that's his fall. He's done after that. Okay, and this devil been dragging his feet, pump faking. All right, but the Lord done thrust this nigga into the fire, man. Okay, and this nigga is trying to squirm his way out. Okay, because I say now this nigga is trying to cop a plea. He's trying to do a tough surrender. He's trying to look tough while he's surrendering. We're gonna go into the videos where this nigga trying to look tough and surrender at the same time, man. This nigga won't out, man. Okay, so let's go here to the book of Isaiah and see these other nations now. They're looking at their time to strike. They're looking at America like, okay, because see, America, when you read this in the book of Isaiah 33 and 1, it says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, because America is used to going into these wars and spoiling these other nations, killing a lot of civilians, even killing a lot of soldiers, killing, infrastructure, military infrastructure, okay, taking the resources, all right, from these particular places. So America is used to America is the one that's used to spoiling and not being spoiled. Okay, America used to go into war and not taking no losses, but only gaining. Okay, and dealing treacherously, but they dealt not treacherously with thee. Yeah, so America, they make these deals and break them. They make these treaties and break them. Okay, they double cross and triple cross. Like they do a lot of treachery in war. Okay, make deals with this company and this nation. It's just a lot that this devil be doing, and it's treacherous, man. But now, all right, we're going to go into how these nations are starting to begin to deal treacherously with America now. Okay, now America is on the outside looking in. Okay, of the plot that's against America, man, because these nations are plotting against America, man. The Lord got it set up to where these nations are seeing this weakness in America, hey, and they finna go for their move, man, and take America off the board. Okay, and Yahweh Shai is coming to take all of them off the board. You can never leave that out. All right, and it says, when thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, because now America is losing. Okay, all the military infrastructure. And this is just the beginning. This is just them losing assets in their region. Okay, but this war ends with America losing everything, man. Cease to exist to be in the nation. Okay, it's not America's not going to exist anymore, man. The ultimate spoiling is not going to exist. Okay, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Okay, so we're going to go into these moves being made, and we can see, all right, that these nations, okay, got America in their crosshairs, man. You know, especially dealing with Russia, man. Russia is playing the game where they're playing both sides. Okay, and they're really America is being worked because America's in the place, all right, that they have no leverage. See, America used to come into these negotiations with all the leverage, which gave them a lot of room to be treacherous, man. Okay, but now America not in the position, okay, to negotiate anything, man. Okay, the Lord is giving America the treatment that they've been giving these nations, okay, for decades, man. Okay, America has been made real vulnerable in a real short time. Okay, and the IDF, the small hats, they're finished, man. They're out of the race. You know, they're being reduced to nothing. Okay, told us the IDF did all this barking like they were some. The IDF ain't no superpower, man. Okay, they control the superpower America, but the IDF by themselves is no superpower, man. They're trash. Okay, and it's being exposed. They tried to act like they was some superpower military. No, they're trash, man. All right, and this is why they're in a dire situation. They're on ICU. The IDF, the state of Israel, is in ICU after just 10 days. Okay, but all the terrorizing they did in their region for so long, now we're seeing the Lord, all right, is beginning, okay, the process of judgment, because it's just going to escalate. Okay, I say Iran is just the beginning phase of judgment. Okay, and it's going to continue to escalate and just get worse, man, for the West, man, for America and these small heads. Okay, so let's go here to Jeremiah. Let's go here to Isaiah. Get this in AMP. All right, this is Isaiah 49 and 13. Okay, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 49, in verse 13. It said, "For I have sworn an oath by myself, says the Lord Yahweh Bashim al Shai, that Basra will become an object of horror, a reproach, a ruin, and a curse, and all this city will become perpetual ruins," man. So the Lord has sworn by himself that America is going to be a desert, man. So none of this shit that the elites are doing, all right, that America trying to do, the small, all this going to fail, okay? And this place is going to be a ruin, okay? Because you got to think, data centers is a major part of this New World Order infrastructure, the digital public infrastructure. These data centers play a major part, because without the data centers, AI is nothing. AI don't exist without the data centers, okay? AI doesn't function. These cameras and, you know, all this commuting that's needed, you know, to run a digital infrastructure. Well, the data center is, all right, the centerpiece of it all. Okay, and you have close to 4,000 in America, with another 3,000 scheduled to be built in America. That's 7,000. You know, and the world only has right now close to 11,000. Okay, and almost 40% of those data centers are in America, and they plan to make America home to like 60, you know, a little bit over 60%. Okay, over of the world's data centers, man. But guess what? The Lord finna destroy all of it, man, because they want to depopulate America and weaken American society, to fit into this new world order. All right. But the fact that they plan on investing into all these data centers, they don't want America to be completely destroyed. But the Lord do. Okay. Showing you that, hey, the Most High is in the driver's seat, man. Okay. Now these elites, they just have to ride. They just have to ride along for the ride. Okay. They're just along for the ride now. Okay. They're gonna throw that MOTB out. All right. Like I say, that's that last hat trick they got. And that's it. It said, "For I have sworn an oath by myself, said the Lord, that Basra will become an object of horror, a reproach, a ruin, and a curse, and all its allies will become, it's like in all its cities will become perpetual ruins." Verse 14, I have heard a report from the Lord. Okay? I have heard a report from the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. Okay? And the report of the Lord is this Bible. Okay? So all throughout the prophecies, okay, when you read, it says, and a messengers has been sent to the nation saying, gather together and come against her and rise up to the battle. So these nations, they're taking their marching orders from Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. Okay? The heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. Like the rivers, he turns it whithersoever he will. Okay? So these nations, they're getting their marching orders from Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. And you see all these nations starting to pile up and rally behind Iran. Okay? Join this coalition of Iran, Russia, and China. Okay? Which is going to come against Babylon, man. Okay? How is the hammer of the whole earth broken asunder? You see? So the Lord is using these other nations, all right, to break up Babylon, man. Okay? And Yahweh Shai, he's going to come and break up everything at his return. All right? But we're seeing, all right, that these nations are beginning to, align themselves under this chief prince, okay, which is Russia, man, under Putin. You see? So everything that's written in the scriptures, well, now these things are playing out in reality, man. These major moves, okay, going into this war, these alliances, okay, that's prophesied to happen in this war. Well, it's happening, man. The kings of the east, there's several countries, man. Okay, the countries, an assembly of nations. Okay, all these things, okay, are what we're seeing playing out. And all the power is swifting. It's like all the power is shifting to the east. Okay, because now Russia is looking like the dominant superpower in the earth, and this conflict is revealing that Russia has all the cards. Okay, when it comes to the affairs of geopolitics and war, okay, all the cards are in the hands of Russia. Okay, which is going to get all these nations to turn, okay, on America, all right, and ex-America out, because the reason why America is tolerated with all this wickedness that it does, because it's been a bully. Okay, nations didn't want to deal with the military consequence of America, but now as America, all right, is getting beat up, okay, on the global stage. Okay, now these nations, they have another option now. Okay, side with Russia don't seem so bad. Okay, and the Lord gonna put in their mind to that's gonna be the play. Okay, and it's all to take America off the map, man. Okay, Jeremiah 49:14 said, "For behold, Edom, I have made you small among the nations and despised among men." So Edom has been, when you go into Edom, mainly speaking of America, all right, this Edomite empire, okay, of America, okay, Babylon the Great has been made small, man. In 10 days, man, which America was becoming, is a gradual build up to this, because nations have started dealing, okay, creating workarounds around America for a while. America, I mean, nations have started doing things, all right, that they wouldn't do 10, 20, 30 years ago. Okay, because the respect for America has been dwindling for a while. Okay, but there was still this, this fear or the speculation of American military might. But now that Iran, all right, in these 10 days has exposed that America is limited, that Iran is giving the nation a blueprint on how to deal with the war. Okay, and breaking up that military infrastructure, man. Okay, them see what Iran has done in these 10 days, man. It's hard for America to project power in their region now. They've destabilized America in their region. America is destabilized. Okay, and that's why these niggas trying to get a surrender to try to recoup before it get any worse, man. But nah, man. Okay, it's all gas, no brakes on America right now, on these small hats right now, man. Okay. But America, the Lord has made these America small, man. Iran is showing America looking little right now, man. America looking too little. How them athletes do? They look, they put their hand toward the ground. Nigga, you too little. You see? And IDF is a non-factor, man. Okay? And they fooled everybody like they was so goddamn tough and bad. Okay, because they just killed civilians and blowing up pages and all this. What we've been saying? What have we been saying? Beyond, my brother home. Yeah, beyond, yeah, beyond here, man. Beyond what we've been telling these folks, man. All right, we told them folk. All right, that this is how this shit was finna go. They had everybody fooled, all these goddamn gimmicks for so long. But now that they in the actual war, man, now you seeing a completely different, reality, man, than what these people was painting. Yeah, bro, we telling them, man, IDF, for gimmicks, man. Gimmicks don't win no wars, man. And that's what we were saying from the door that, look, people like, man, IDF, man, they so intelligent, man. The Mossad this and the Mossad that. The CIA and America can do this and they can do that, man. Them was all gimmicks. All right? None of those gimmicks change the outcome of the battlefield. They have nothing to do with the outcome on the battlefield. Blowing up cell phones, blowing up scooters, destroying civilians has nothing to do with the outcome on the battlefield. So what did all this shit get them? All these scientists and leaders that they killed in Iran, how is that helping them now? It don't. It was all gimmicks. Okay? It was all just to show, all right, what they call optics. It was all for optics of playing tough. Okay? Let's look up that word optics. Okay? It was all for optics for Western media. Okay? To pretend as if they were tough, man. So let's go here real quick to optics. And then we'll segue to some video. And y'all, and Jay, we're gonna listen to the talk, because when we play it, all right, you're gonna show you that this nigga is surrendering but trying to sound tough at the same. So let's look at this real quick. Optics. Okay, it's all the IDF, and it said optics. It said the sign. No, that ain't it. It's the it said optics. It said typically in potential context, the way in which an event or course of action is perceived by the public. Okay, the way in which an event or course of action is perceived by the public. Okay, so it's all about how something is perceived, not the reality of a thing, but how you can make a thing seem. Okay, and IDF has been doing that for a long time. They've been able to seem tough, blow this up, blow that up, this many airstrikes, kill this leader, kill that leader, blow up pages and cell phones and this and that, kill this leader, kill this scientist, kill General Soleimani. Okay, Trump did that in 2020. See, and Iran remember all that. All this is playing a factor into what we're seeing now. Okay? So it was all optics, all right, of these devils playing tough, man. Okay? IDF was never, all right, no mighty military force, man. Okay? Yes, they had the best intelligence because they got the biggest network. Okay? But they was never, okay, no battlefield. Okay, they was never just no uh they was never no contender when it comes to true battlefield. Okay, when it came to combat, when it came to real combat, they never had a reputation of getting down. Okay, it was always optics, man. So let's go here. So I got quite a few. Let's go here. Let's go here.
There is a broad unanimity amongst experts that today was the 10th day of the illegal war that Donald Trump and his war criminal Israeli boss Benjamin Netanyahu started against Iran. And 10 days on, there is a broad unanimity amongst experts that the Americans and Israelis are losing this war. In fact, Donald Trump himself has just told an American media outlet that he will end the war against Iran soon, saying that war is now complete. This is important because the Islamic Republic today announced their new lethal missile strategy against countries that it calls its enemies. This would be the broad focus of my video tonight. Also, in my video, the CNN has just confirmed that the Americans and Israelis were targeting hospitals and other civilian infrastructure. So much for the so-called bravery of these cowards. So please stay tuned. Donald Trump has just told CBS News that he may end the war against Iran soon.
We hope we don't have any of that. And again, if they do that, if they play that game, we're going to hit them at a level that they have not seen before. So we're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule. Our military is the greatest in the world, with the greatest equipment and the greatest people in the world. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Iran's a very powerful country. They were going to take over the Middle East.
You heard him, didn't you? The nigga had to admit, the nigga said Iran a very powerful country. Okay? But what this nigga is trying to do, he's trying to sound tough while surrendering. Okay? So just keep listening to him talk.
If we did not hit them, they were going to take over the Middle East. They had thousands and thousands since their last hit. They had thousands and thousands of missiles and everything else. Most are now destroyed. But they were going to take over the Middle East. Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder. Yeah, please.
Thank you. Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think you could say it both. The beginning, it's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further.
This nigga trying to get an off ramp. This nigga trying to get an off ramp, man. Okay? Because none of that's all lies. But he's trying to save face and tell them that he did all this. So he pretty much job well done, so we can walk away. We good. Okay, so he's trying to sound tough and surrender at the same time. These niggas are tapping out. Okay, this is what these niggas is doing, man. This is what they telling you, man. Okay, and they saying that's why I say, look, we can walk away today, man, with a victory, and we good. We done did. No, this nigga is trying to get a surrender. Okay, it's getting brutal over there, man. You see, this going, and we knew, like I was saying, brothers been going into it. All right, and we've been saying that Iran was gonna shock the world. Okay, and I'm looking at it, I'm knowing that Iran was gonna surprise them, but I didn't know Iran was gonna come like this, though. I didn't know they were gonna come like this, And now America is trying to get an off ramp, man. These niggas is begging for a surrender. This is what you hearing. He's trying to find some type of opening to get out of there, man. Okay? Getting overwhelmed. You see?
And we're going to go further.
Why is this important?
So let's go from there. There's another one. We might come back to that video. Okay? That nigga want America. Trump's trying to get out of there, man. All right? Especially because if they completely run out of those interceptors, oh my goodness. So let's play this.
Donald Trump called up CBS an hour or so ago, and he spoke to Weijia Jiang over there, and Trump said, I think the Iran war is pretty much complete. He says, pretty complete. They have no Navy, no communications. They've got no Air Force. He says the United States is very far ahead of its initial.
And that's a lie. All right, those Navy boats haven't even been dispatched. Okay, they're closing the Strait of Hormuz, all right, with launchers, okay, that's on the coast of the mountains, okay, of the Persian Gulf. All right, the Navy, Iran Navy hasn't even been dispatched. Okay, they did sink one area, which is a story to go with that. They did sink one Navy vessel. Okay, but their Navy, which consists of a bunch of, all right, speedboats, okay, and other vessels, hasn't even been dispatched. Okay, their fighter jets are on the ground. Okay, their Air Force is on the ground. You see, everything is on the ground. The whole military infrastructure is on the ground and in mountains. Okay, America don't know where these launchers are. They can't get to the missiles, so this nigga is just lying. Okay, he just needs the American people to believe, okay, that they're walking away because they've accomplished what they want to accomplish, which is nothing. They want a regime change. Here it is. The man's son that you killed is now in power. Okay, and we're going to get to that too. So everything that these devils set out to do, they went backwards. Okay, but they know they can lie so easily to the American public. Okay, so what they're doing is trying to sound tough and surrender at the same time, man. All right, this is why he's saying the war is complete. Okay, so this nigga, he's signaling to Iran that, look, nigga, we finna quit. Okay, but we're gonna go into Iran response, man. But let's listen to this nigga, man.
4 to 5 week estimated time frame. When asked about Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khomeini, who Trump is openly criticizing, Trump's like, we won. I have no message for him, none whatsoever. Donald Trump said that he had someone in mind to replace Khomeini, not Mojtaba, but he said that he's not going to discuss it now. As for the Strait of Hormuz, Donald Trump said things are great. Ships are moving through it, but he's thinking about maybe taking it over himself. And then Trump warned Iran that they've shot everything they have to shoot, and they better not try anything cute, or it's going to be the end of that country. Now, obviously, Donald Trump called Weijia Jiang over at CBS to try to manipulate the markets, which were crashing. Predictably, he manipulated the markets. The S&P erased its losses. We saw the markets rise on Donald Trump saying that essentially the United States is surrendering to Iran. As the U.S. has not achieved any of the goals that the Trump regime stated, which is get rid of the regime. In fact, we put in someone even more extreme than the original Ayatollah Khomeini. We put in his son Motaba, who's more extreme. We did not eliminate, their ballistic missile threat. We did not eliminate their ability to enrich uranium. But when Donald Trump surrenders, when he taps out, some people have called it taco, the markets actually perform better. So here he's doing that, and the markets reacted. The S&P erased all of its losses. Oil prices started declining, right? The oil prices were reaching $115 per barrel, and they declined like 30%, which is what Donald Trump wanted. As Julia Luff says, Weijia, you're an amazing reporter, but we all understand that Trump called her. He called you this afternoon so that he could report this vague but promising comment in the afternoon so that the markets would rally and erase the day's drop. Like, you realize that, right? Now, one of the things that we learned as well is that before Donald Trump announced that, I guess he's essentially declaring the war to be a victory and that everything is great, Donald Trump spoke with Putin today. And Donald Trump in this phone.
You see that? Okay. Going back to their chief prince. Okay. Because the Lord got it set up where Russia got all the cards, man. Okay. As America is on the back foot, the IDF, okay, is in ICU. You see? Russia got all the cards. Okay. So now America is having to reach out. Okay. America is having to compromise and negotiate. All right. And Putin is going to do nothing but play America, man. Okay. Because at the same time as Putin is going to act like he's trying to get Iran to chill, they're giving Iran the targets to hit. Okay. So they're just dealing treacherously with America, man, because America has dealt treacherously with everyone for such a long time. Okay. So now you hear about Putin being the the only one that's able to. They're saying that Putin is the only one that will be able to mediate some type of ceasefire. Okay, but then even within that, Iran says it's going to be on their terms when they feel like it. All right, which we'll get some footage on that. But let's play this
call with Putin. Heard from Putin where Putin shared his proposal how to end the war quickly and how Putin thinks that this war should be brought to an end. The Kremlin, notably, Putin released the first readout of the call, which Trump, no one from Trump's regime disputes. And so Putin was very quick to say, Donald called me, and I'm going to be working with Donald to figure out a solution now to end the war in Iran. Just want you to think about how utterly dangerous that is, especially when you account for the fact of how well Russia has done in this war, right? These surging prices of oil created a windfall for Russia, especially as the United States dropped a lot of critical sanctions against Russia, allowing it to sell oil. And by the way, after that phone call with Putin, we learned that the Trump regime is considering removing much more sanctions, allowing Russia to sell more oil potentially to other places. Just, again, process all of this together because it all needs to be taken in context with each other. Now, John Hudson writes, so which is it? This is, quote, just the beginning of the U.S. war in Iran, which is what Hegseth, Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense, told 60 Minutes on Friday, or the war in Iran is very much complete. We're pretty much done, as Trump told Weijia from CBS today. Just so you can see the data points, here is Hegseth on 60 Minutes on the Iran war, just so you see for yourself. Let's play it.
What was the Iranian Navy is largely no more. There'll be more boats to be sunk, for sure. So their ability to project any power in that area in a naval sense is diminishing and will be increasingly diminished. Again, what I want your viewers to understand is this is only just the beginning.
Here's another clip of Hegseth.
So you got and Trump saying, all right, that the war complete. Okay, it's just two clowns up there, man. All right, Trump and Hicks have two clowns, man. Okay, and ultimately they're trying to remain tough, keep this tough posture and surrender at the same time. Okay, but Iran ain't going. Okay.
From that same interview, let's play this clip right here.
But I would also remind your audience it's early. It's 6 days into this campaign, 6 days. So we're going to have a lot more options over time on critical waterways like that to ensure that we can safeguard them and make sure safe passage.
Also, it should be noted that France's President Macron stated earlier that he expects the war to last a few more weeks. You know, Iran has a say in when this is going to end. And when you've heard from the Iranian foreign ministers and the Iranian National Security Council advisors and leaders, they say they don't plan on stopping their actions in the region anytime soon in response to Donald Trump and Israel attacking Iran. I mean, we're learning this morning, for example, according to CBS News and two U.S. officials with knowledge on the matter, the U.S. lost 2 additional MQ-9 Reaper drones during operations against Iran, bringing the total losses of MQ-9s during the conflict with Iran to 11. And these are massively expensive drones, the MQ-9s. And we've lost 11 of them so far. We're learning that the Israeli officials are growing concerned about the escalating war with Iran and suggested possible exit ramps. This is per the Washington Post. Details include exit ramps are being discussed amid concerns over the region and the global economy. Talk of an endgame is early, and the decision, Israel says, is with Trump. Trump has wavered among several conceptions of the outcome. I'm not sure it is in our interest to fight until the regime is toppled, said an Israeli official. We posted this on the Midas Touch account, this photo of Donald Trump with what he said to CBS. I think the Iran war is pretty much complete. He's in front of the mission accomplished banner right there. And
so you have these small hat officials, you know, talking about an exit ramp. You see, and we talked about this before, that off ramp. All right. Now you have the small hats in America, they're scrambling to find some type of off ramp. Okay. Trump done had to reach out to Putin. These Gulf Arab states had to reach out to Putin because they can't talk to Iran directly. Okay. So they're having to reach to Putin, which gives Putin the cards. Then Putin got the oil. Okay. So he's benefiting of that. Russia's benefiting off the oil price. Okay, the barrels of oil going up. Okay, so all right, the power is being shifted and the momentum is being shifted to the kings of the East, man. Okay, and America is looking weaker than ever. The small hats, all right, they're just being exposed for what they really are. Okay. You know, everybody's looking at them. You know, they're being called out at an all-time high. Okay. So everything is working against these devils, man. All right. Now, let's go here because you hear all this talk about, you know, the end of the war. And, you know, we can finish. You can't just walk away from a war. That ain't no one-side decision. One side can't just decide to walk away. Okay. No. If there's not a mutual understanding between everybody fighting, then the war don't end. Okay, you can't walk away from a war when you're losing. Okay, that's the privilege of someone that's winning that can walk away from the war. You don't walk away from wars when you're losing. Okay, it don't work like that. All right, so let's go here. Let's play this. So Iran said they're gonna let their missiles talk. No more diplomacy. No more talking about the end of the war, nigga. We gonna keep striking. Nigga, y'all can leave. We gonna keep striking. You can't end the war when you're losing. That's the privilege of someone that's winning. That's the privilege of someone dominating the war. Okay.
Iran's foreign minister, Sayed Abbas Araghchi, has said that Tehran was prepared to continue attacks for as long as necessary. While speaking to U.S. broadcaster PBS News, Araghchi said negotiations with the United States were no longer on the agenda. Araghchi's remark comes amid the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson saying that Tehran had refused requests for a ceasefire from countries including France, Russia, and China.
Some contacts are being held.
I thought France was supposed to send the battleship. A couple of days ago, France said they're going to send battleship and we're going to defend the UAE. That little Bati man, Emmanuel Macron, the French president, he was talking like this. The French was on the way. Okay. Now we find out this nigga want a ceasefire. This nigga, he's with this petition of a ceasefire, man. They don't woke up the wild boar, and they can't do nothing with him. Okay, this is what these nations are telling you. Look, we can't do nothing with these people. Let's get a ceasefire. Okay, and everyone looking at these small hats in America for sparking this, man. The Strait of Hormuz closed. Okay, all those European, because Europe is heavily invested into, all right, those GCC countries, man, and all the infrastructure is getting pummeled. Okay, and then that oil that flows freely through there is not coming. Okay, so the Lord forcing everybody's hand. Okay, ain't no more playing games, and because all America wants to do is end the fighting so they can rearm. Okay. They want to call a timeout because Iran got the ups. Okay, that's not Iran said. Look, that ain't the question no more. The missiles gonna talk. That's the diplomacy now. Is the missiles. Okay, and that's the only way you can talk to America. That's the only language that they understand. That's the only language they respect. Okay, so let's play this.
With the Islamic Republic of Iran, as you follow in the news, from China, Russia, France, and even some countries in the region are in contact with us, and other countries, both Islamic and non-Islamic ones. Some of them, yes, are actually willing to act to stop this war or establish a ceasefire. Well, this is their request and we are fulfilling it. The cessation of this war is in the hands of the Islamic Republic of Iran. This means that whenever the Islamic Republic of Iran decides for them to stop, the ultimate decision rests with the Islamic Republic of Iran in this matter, because they were the ones who committed aggression. They carried out armed attacks. We must actually stop when we can feel or have a guarantee that these aggressive actions will not happen again and that they will accept full responsibility for their own actions. These two conditions, they must accept responsibility. It's not like they'll just come today and say, stop, and ceasefire. And we'll say, very well, and it's all over. We currently hold the upper hand. Look, every single effort they have made has utterly failed. Even now, they have not achieved their objectives. The Islamic Republic of Iran has inflicted severe and painful losses upon the Zionist regime, America, and their allies. Just observe the state of the global economy and energy. This is extremely painful for them. So you see, we have delivered truly devastating blows in this regard. So we actually have the upper hand here, and therefore the Islamic Republic of Iran will determine the end of the war.
Boy said Iran gonna determine the end of the war. Okay, because what this clown nigga here ain't talking about nothing. Okay, he's in uncharted territory. He's not built for wartime. You Americans have no wartime leaders in office, man. This nigga's a real estate reality TV star, man. This is a real war. All right, this nigga's a failed real estate, tycoon and a reality TV show star, man. Okay? Pete Hegseth, this nigga played football for Princeton, man. These niggas ain't built for this, man. Mark Rubio. Look at these men. Look at your leaders, man. Okay? Kristi Noem, a goddamn woman. Look at your leaders, man. Okay? And this is a real war, man. That cute shit don't work. Okay? Having actors as politicians, they only work when, you know, you got the ups, man. But now you need some strategists. They don't got it. AI, they thought AI was the golden ticket. Failed quickly. AI got confounded first day. Okay? So now they want to offer him, but Iran like, nah, we're not doing that. Okay? Nigga, we'll decide when we stop fighting. You know? Let's go here. I'm just play this. So let's go let's go to some more. Let's go here. And you see how articulate, you know, and well put together, you know, these Iranian generals are, and these I got a clip from a Pakistan senator too, and you just see how articulate and well put together and knowledgeable that these people are about the affairs of the world. Okay, compared to over here in America, man, when you have your president saying the war finished, you got your Secretary of Defense saying we just getting started. It's like, God damn, you know, it's an actual Saturday Night Live skit is what runs America, man. So let's see. I got quite a few. Let me find it. Oh yeah, here we go. Because they were talking about this ground invasion, you know, this ground invasion. Everybody, then they like that's gonna be a big game changer. Everybody talking about this ground invasion. Okay, like they're just gonna be this big major game changer. You know, putting boots on the ground. Okay, let's get a few pre-sales from brothers. All right, this is the brother Azari GMS in Truth Orlando, and it said, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women and have burned. They said they have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken. And that's these bases, man. Where these troops are dwelling at over there, man. Hey, these bases are being broken down. Okay, and you not saying this is the thing too, is like, goddamn, if you got troops already over there, what they doing? Okay, you got 40,000 personnel over there. What they doing? All this a quadrillion-dollar armies. You can't get them niggas to Iran. You got niggas over there already. What about all these troops that was in the bases? Okay, that's another point I was just thinking too. The troops over, what they over there for? We ain't heard about the American troops doing nothing. Okay, you got niggas already over there. Why they ain't made their way to Iran yet? Okay, all these bases over there, all these troops. You see? But then you got talks that American troops are being hunted down, man. Okay, these are Iranian proxies, especially in Iraq. Okay, that they're getting into firefights. Okay, so my thing is this: all these troops, there's already 40,000 troops over there. What they over there for? What do they do? Okay, you ain't heard about them throwing a rock at the nigga over there, man. Okay, that's why I love this war, because you can't play tough no more. See, it's a real war. You can't play tough. And see, all them optics don't matter no more. Okay? You got to be tough now. All right? GMS Virginia Island, Straight Gate, Luke 14:31. It says, or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulted whether he be able to withstand 10,000, all right, to meet him that cometh, okay, that coming against him with 20,000. Okay, because when you talk about this war, this is a war of missiles. Okay, and Iran has far more missiles than the small hats in America had interceptors, and this was all this was known. Okay, but the pride of this devil, and then the Most High had it, where you had them 6 planets lined up on the 28th. Okay, the blood moon month, the month of March, which is goes back to the Roman god of war, Mars. Okay, so the Most High had it lined up like this was the right timing for these devils, man, and they walked right into the trap. Okay, so now they in the war. Okay, like Trump had a meeting with the weapons manufacturers. Okay, nigga, what you having a meeting with them for? Nigga, y'all should have been did that. Okay, you should have been consulted with them. Nigga, you in the war now. Okay, there ain't nothing they can do to produce them missiles faster than what they limited. Okay, it just showed, and the Lord is showing the limitations of America's military. Okay, a lot of America's military might was on paper, man, because it's not transitioning to the real world. A lot of that military might is on paper. Okay, it's not transitioning to real combat like that. You see, now America, like I say, of course they have the ability to do damage. Okay, but to win this extended war, okay, or strategy, all right, the American military not built for that, man. Okay, the AI not built for that. You see, the AI can't adapt to this war. The AI ain't got no experience in war, man. It's just computing information. Okay, it's just breaking down possibilities and outcomes. Okay, and if because AI can be wrong, and see in war when you wrong, you pay the ultimate cost. Okay, and it's only so many times you can be wrong. Okay, so let's play this because I think another brother has something else. I seen Salaki. Let's see. Yep, it's the brother GMS in his likeness. All right, Job 18:7 said the steps of his strength shall be straightened. Okay, so now he's having difficulty moving around. Like I say, this MOTB, like I say, it's gonna be a last ditch effort, man. Okay, the nukes, it's gonna be a last, because I'm just speculating. I can see because they got it set up when one nation shoot missiles, all these other nations gonna detect that those missiles have, because they know what these certain silos it and certain things that, all right, nations, because in war, all secrets come out. Okay, but there's certain intel that they got, and then they got it set up to where if, let's say, America was able to launch nukes at China and Russia, well, automatically they got it set up to where Russia and China, all their nukes come out at one time. Okay, to return fire from wherever that nuke is launched from. Okay, and the way that it's going, let's say, which we know, of course, the MOTB got to come out first. Okay, it got to be mandated. Still, things got to play out. Okay, but when it get to the time, that this war is going to go nuclear, man. Like I can see these small hats in America being the first to let it go because desperation. Okay, that Samson option. Well, guess what? Well, there's a Samson 2 option, right? That these nations got. You see? So I can see them, losing because it's only gonna get worse. Conventionally, it only gets worse. I don't. The small hats, it's gonna be bad for them early. Okay, because they damn near offline. Okay, at this rate, you see. But this devil, he's in scrapes, man. It says, and his own counsel shall cast him down. His own counsel. His own ideas is working against him, is backfiring, man. Okay? but he can't get out of it, man. You see, the nations they're beyond trying to build their own. They're beyond trying to be diplomatic with America, man. That's done. Now it's just missile talk now. Okay, and it says, "For he is cast down into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon the snare, man, and he walked right into the snare." I say all these wicked counsels that this nigga has and this new world agenda, and he got this. Like I say, he got so much going that he can't keep up with it. Esau got too much going on at one time. He got too much wickedness, too many different false narratives and treachery and backstabbing, and he got too much going on to where he just walked himself into a snare. Okay, and now he can't shake it loose. Okay, so you had people talking about, because people in America sad, niggas sad when they hearing about this news, man. But you got people in America now talking about they gonna send ground troops. Okay, like the ground troops is gonna be the saving grace, and I can't wait. I can't wait to report on it. This ground invasion, I can't wait to report on it. Baratazar, man. But let's play this real quick.
This morning, this is Polymarket. U.S. forces entering Iran by December 31st, a 65% chance of U.S. forces on boots on the ground. Meanwhile, the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, says he is waiting for a U.S. ground invasion. The Iranians are prepared, and watches this NBC News anchor is like, wait a minute, did you just say what I think you said?
Boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Yes, nigga. Yes. Okay. Yes, that's what he's saying. Take your ass over there. Matter of fact, you go over there. You act like you don't believe this shit real. Yes, they ready for that, man. You don't see they've been ready for everything. You don't think they factor in ground troops in the war? This is a war. You don't think they factor that in? And look at the pride of these Edomites, man. Like, how dare you say we ready for American ground troops? Nigga, send them over there. Nigga, you gonna have a lot to report on. Okay? He kept asking the same question, like, nigga, yes. And then check my boy. Then look at the posture of these Iranian leaders, man. Look at this posture, man. This masculine frame. Like, nigga, yeah, we ready. And then you're gonna see my boy Iran foreign minister. He get his little smirk, like he can't wait for them niggas to come over there, man. When he first asked, he gonna give a little smirk. You know what I'm saying? Like he can't wait for them niggas to come over there, man. All right, and they know you Americans. The American military, man. Look at the roster of the American military, man. Okay, you got Eve, Travante, goddamn Peter Griffin. All right, come on, man. American ground troops ain't ready for that over there, man. Okay, it's gonna be a disaster, like he said. But watch my boy give a little smirk to this nigga, man. He asking the same question.
In Iran, are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons. And we are.
So there's a lot of propaganda.
So, hey, send them on. Okay? Send them troops over there, man. Okay, the script said what he gonna remove from us the Northern Army. All right, the Joel 2:20. My brother want to play that. All right, because they're gonna be deployed. All right, and that's why they're gonna need a draft, man, because that's gonna be all right a meat grinder. Okay, so let's go from there. As I got quite a bit to go into. Right. Yeah. Nigga gonna come over there. Yeah. You know, a nigga, a route coordinator from Amazon. All right, but you gonna put some night goggles on this nigga and send him over there. Okay, out of there, man. Okay, you Americans ain't built for this, man. Okay, so let's play this one. But yeah, brother want to post that what's that Joel 2:20, and we'll segue to this one. Yeah, this the brother Mark Ball, Joel 2:20. It said, "But I will remove far off from you the Northern Army." Okay, and this is the Americans being deployed. Okay, Americans, all right, being deployed over there to fight this war. All right, and you're going to fight for these small hats. All right, you Americans, all right, you Americans gonna get nuked. Okay, behind these small hat ambitions, man. Okay, and you Americans are wicked anyway. It's not like America just squeaky clean, like y'all innocent. Like y'all can just point into small hat. The small hats are the root, okay, of wickedness in the earth. Okay, but you Americans, you've been an extension of that wickedness, man. Okay, you Americans are not innocent, man. That's why the Lord is going to allow, all right, these small hats has drug you Americans into this slaughter, man. Okay, it said, "But I will remove far from you the Northern Army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the East Sea, and the East Sea is the Persian Gulf, all right, which on the other side of the Persian Gulf is Iran." Okay, showing you that the American troops are going to be postured towards Iran. Okay, and his hinder part, all right, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. Okay, and his stink shall come up, and his Savior shall come up, because he have done great things, man. You have great wickedness, man. Okay, this is the judgment of the Lord. The Lord is using this war to judge, man. Okay, and you Americans, all right, you've been wicked, been proud. Okay, you've been, you know, especially even with this last thing with Venezuela, you Americans are just jumping up and down. Yeah, we got the best military. We, you know, yeah, man, take the oil. We need the oil. They're savages anyway. Take the oil. Okay, you were just cheerleading your government. Okay, when they went and did what they did in Venezuela, but now you got this in Iran. So now, okay, you're against the small hats now. Now you got the countries now, you Americans. Okay, but you've been with all the wickedness of America from thus far, man. Okay. So now, man, the Lord is using this war to judge. Okay, and a lot of you Americans are going to get sent over there, and you say, well, and even if you don't get deployed, the nukes coming back here. So it's going to be, ain't no escaping this judgment. Even if you don't get deployed in this war, okay, that don't mean you escape judgment. That means the Lord going to send the judgment here. Okay, just like now, wherever those American military is in that region, man, the missiles is finding their way to these different commanders and CIA heads. Okay, that's over there, because the Americans scrambling over there. You in the American military, you're scrambling from them ballistic missiles, man, of Iran. That's why they hitting hotels, man, because Russia giving them the drop. Okay, Russia giving them their location, man, and they putting it on your ass, man. Okay, So even right now, what we're seeing is just the beginning phase, man. All right, and you Americans to think you're gonna be cute and dodge the draft or whatever, cool. You can dodge it, but you ain't gonna dodge them nukes that's coming over here. Okay, so this is a master class of judgment that the Heavenly Father is putting on, man. Okay, so those troops that deployed, man, said they stink shall go up, man. Okay, which means bodies. Okay. Second Ezra 16:33, just the brother GMS Virginia Island Straight Gate. It said, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegroom, the women shall mourn having no husband, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. Okay, because it says in the wars, verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine, man. Okay, this is judgment going forth. Okay, this war is a tool of judgment that the Lord is going to use. Okay, and a lot of men, okay, finna die in this third world war. Okay, a lot of men finna be shipped over there, and that's it. Okay, if you're deployed over there to their war, you're out. That's it. That's your last. You know, that's your farewell. Okay, so let's play this real quick.
$1 defense system. America blinked first. The most powerful military on the planet, with aircraft carriers, stealth bombers, billion-dollar defense systems, and 40,000 troops deployed across the Middle East, quietly sent a message to Iran asking for a ceasefire. Iran said no, not maybe, not let's talk, not we need conditions first, no. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, went on American national television, NBC's Meet the Press, watched by millions of Americans every Sunday, looked directly into the camera and said words that should have stopped every newsroom on the planet. This doesn't work like this. There needs to be a permanent end to the war. Unless we get to that, we need to continue fighting. Think about what just happened. America asked the country it has been bombing for 10 straight days to please stop hitting back. And Iran said no, not through a back channel, not through a diplomat in a quiet room, but live on American TV to the American public directly. That single moment tells you everything about where this war actually stands right now. Not where politicians say it stands, not where the headlines say it stands, where it actually stands. Because a country that is losing does not reject a ceasefire on national television. A country that is losing begs for one. So what is really happening? Why did America ask for a ceasefire after only 10 days? And why did Iran, a country being bombed around the clock, say no? The answers to those three questions explain everything unfolding in the Middle East right now. And by the end of this video, you will understand this conflict more clearly than most people watching it unfold on their screens. Let's start with why America asked. 10 days ago, Operation Epic Fury launched with a very specific promise: fast, overwhelming, decisive. The theory was clean. Massive strikes kill the Iranian leadership. The government collapses from within. Regime change happens in days. The nuclear program gets eliminated, and America declares victory before the world has time to fully react. Day one, Khamenei killed. Mission appears on track. Then Iran responded. 500 ballistic missiles, 2,000 drones. Strikes across Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Israel. Simultaneously, relentlessly, without pause. America's Patriot batteries running low on interceptors. A THAAD radar system destroyed in Qatar. 7 American soldiers in coffins heading home. Oil crossing $100 per barrel for the first time since 2022. Briefly touching $109 on Sunday. The largest single-week surge in oil trading history going back to 1983. The plan that was supposed to last 6 days has not produced a single one of its stated objectives after 10. No regime collapse, no internal revolt, no nuclear program eliminated, no regional stability. Instead, a new supreme leader selected, Mojtaba Khamenei, the dead man's son, who pledged to continue everything his father stood for. Iran's government more unified than before the bombs fell, and America's own National Intelligence Council issuing a formal finding that a large-scale assault on Iran was unlikely to topple the government. America's own intelligence, saying America's own war was unlikely to work. That is why the ceasefire message was sent, not from a position of strength, from a position of a plan that failed to produce its promised results, while the economic pain at home, gas prices up 43 cents in 1 week, heading toward $4 a gallon, began landing on the 90% of American voters who opposed this war before it started. Now let's understand why Iran said no, because this is the part that most coverage gets completely wrong. The instinct is to frame Iran's ceasefire rejection as stubbornness or ideology, or the IRGC refusing to let politicians govern. But what Araghchi actually said on American television was something far more specific and far more strategically rational than simple refusal. He said, "We negotiated with the United States twice, and every single time, they attacked us in the middle of those negotiations. This is not a complaint. This is a documented pattern with specific dates attached to it. February 25th, 2026, Iran's own foreign minister publicly described a nuclear agreement as within reach. Active diplomatic negotiations were underway in Geneva. 3 days later, on February 28th, American and Israeli bombs fell on Tehran. That was the second time. There was a first time in June 2025, the 12-day war, where the same sequence occurred. So when America sends a ceasefire message now, Iran's leadership is not reading it as a genuine offer. They are reading it through the lens of having been attacked twice during previous genuine offers. The ceasefire message looks, from Tehran, exactly like the last two ceasefire messages looked. A pause request designed to give the attacking side time to reload, reposition, and come back for round 3. Araghchi said it plainly. And now you want to ask for a ceasefire again? This doesn't work like this. Iran's condition for ending this war is therefore not a temporary ceasefire. It is a permanent end, structural, guaranteed, irreversible, the kind of settlement that removes the underlying conditions that produced 2 previous attacks during negotiations. Short of that, every ceasefire offer gets filed under trap, and the missiles keep flying. This creates a gap between the two sides that is not a negotiating gap. America's publicly stated position is unconditional surrender. Iran's publicly stated position is permanent end to all aggression. These are not two positions that a mediator closes over a weekend. Now, here's the internal Iranian dimension that makes this even more complicated. Iran's President Pezeshkian stood up on Saturday and apologized to Gulf states for the Iranian strikes hitting their territory. He offered a gesture of de-escalation. Iran would stop attacking neighboring countries as long as those countries were not used to launch strikes against Iran. Within hours, Iran's military launched another wave of strikes on those same Gulf countries. The president of Iran made a peace gesture. His own military ignored it. This is not a malfunction. This is by design. Iran's lower-level military command centers were given autonomous operational authority specifically to prevent the scenario where creating a window for the other side to strike. The IRGC's regional commanders are not waiting for permission from the president or the foreign minister before launching.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is...
They have standing orders to keep pressure sustained regardless of what any civilian official says publicly. This means something critically important for anyone trying to understand how this war ends. Even if Iran's diplomatic wing wanted to accept a ceasefire tomorrow, the military infrastructure executing the strikes would not automatically stop. The chain of command for peace and the chain of command for war are not connected at the bottom. Iran's Revolutionary Guard confirmed publicly that Iran is prepared to sustain this level of conflict for up to 6 months. They have fired over 500 ballistic missiles and 2,000 drones in 10 days. And analysts note the rate has deliberately slowed, not because the stockpile is empty, but because Iran is rationing for a long campaign rather than exhausting itself in a short one. Meanwhile, Russia confirmed it is providing Iran with intelligence on American military positions. China's foreign minister warned the flames of war risk spreading while quietly watching American military credibility erode in real time. Europe is staring at natural gas prices that have surged more than 20% with Qatar's LNG exports halted, taking 20% of global supply offline. Every party with influence over this conflict has a reason to let it continue just a little longer, except the Gulf states whose infrastructure keeps getting struck and the ordinary people on all sides paying the price. So where does this ceasefire story actually end? Let's be honest about what the word ceasefire means to each party in this conflict, because they are not using the same dictionary. To America, ceasefire means pause the fighting, stabilize oil prices before they destroy domestic politics. Buy time to reassess a strategy that has not produced its promised results, and eventually reach some kind of agreement that can be framed as a win before the midterm elections. To Iran, ceasefire means the last 2 times we heard that word, we got bombed. So ceasefire means nothing until it is attached to a permanent structural settlement that makes the third attack impossible. To the Gulf states, ceasefire means please stop now before our desalination plants, oil refineries, airports, and the 50-year economic miracle we built get reduced to a crisis management situation we cannot recover from in less than a decade. To the 7 American families burying their soldiers this week, ceasefire means stop sending our people into a war that America's own intelligence said was unlikely to succeed. To the families in Tehran breathing air contaminated by burning oil depots, black rain falling on their city on Sunday morning, ceasefire means we didn't choose this and we cannot leave. The gap between all these definitions is the reason the ceasefire message sent by America was rejected by Iran in the most public way possible, on American television to an American audience, in English, with complete clarity. Iran's foreign minister did not reject that ceasefire out of stubbornness. He rejected it because accepting a temporary ceasefire, from Iran's documented experience, is how you get bombed a third time while your guard is down. The only acceptable deal is one that makes the third time structurally impossible. America cannot offer that deal without it constituting a formal withdrawal of its military presence from the Gulf, the bases from which the attacks were launched. And America cannot offer that publicly without it being the largest strategic retreat in American military history since Vietnam. So the war continues. Oil at $109 and heading toward $150, according to energy analysts, if the Strait of Hormuz stays closed through March. 7 American coffins. 170 children in a school in southern Iran that Human Rights Watch is calling a war crime investigation. Black rain over Tehran. Qatar's LNG offline. Saudi Arabia's largest refinery closed. And America's own National Intelligence Council saying, in a formal classified assessment that was reported publicly, that this war was destined to fail. The ceasefire was rejected. The missiles are still flying. The oil is still rising. The people who sent the ceasefire message and the people who rejected it are both still standing at podiums on television, telling their populations that the other side will eventually give in. History has a word for wars where both sides believe the other side will give in first. It is not a short word, and it is not a cheap one.
So yeah, that's the reality of what's happening, man. You know, so Trump them, you know, they're trying their best, you know, to save face, but now, man, they got to deal with this war now. Okay, and this is what the Lord wants, and the Lord gonna put an end to everything. You see, the Lord gonna put a complete. See, Yahweh Shai is coming to finalize all the fight with judgment. You see, it's gonna be Yahweh Shai that's gonna end this war. Okay, not these. It's not gonna be ended. All right, this war is not gonna stop. Even if you get some type of ceasefire in between, eventually it's gonna kick back up, and it's gonna go all the way until you go nuclear, man. Okay, so let's go to what's happening in with these small hats, man. You know, save the small hats for last. Okay. So let's go here. Yeah, let's go here. Let's see what's happening with the tiny tops. Okay. I think a brother got a precept. All right, this is the book of 2nd Esdras 8:50 says, "For many great misery shall be done to them that in the latter times shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Okay, and this war is going to address the pride in the earth, man. Okay, the devastation, the famine, all right, the torment. This is going to be a torturous war, man. Civilians are going to be, you see, that missile fire is something different, you know. That missile fire, that's a whole nother element. Matter of fact, I'm gonna play that at the end. I can remember a little. Scott really explained, you know, what America did in that blowing up of that school, of those school girls, man. You know, just to show you the wickedness of the American empire, man. Okay, the wickedness of Esau, Edom. Okay. So we're in a time, man, where a pride is finna dwell in misery, man. It's finna be miserable over here, man. Okay, and America gonna get it the worst. This is just the beginning of sorrows. Okay, so let's play this. What's happening over there with these guys, man?
It is a moment of absolute, unfiltered chaos in occupied Palestine. The carefully constructed facade of the undisputed and safe Zionist entity has not just cracked, it has shattered into a million pieces. We are witnessing a scene that just weeks ago would have been dismissed as fantasy. A mass panicked exodus of Israeli settlers, not into bunkers, but out of the country. The fabled air bridge to Europe, the emergency escape hatch that every Israeli government implicitly guaranteed, is gone.
Iran has targeted Israel's main international airport. Was Ben Gurion just narrowly hit?
Iran has said that it has targeted Israel's Ben Gurion airport, which is the main international airport of the country. Iran's
reports emerging from the region suggest that Iran has carried out a large-scale missile operation targeting areas connected to Israel's central region, including the vicinity of Ben Gurion Airport.
It has been severed not by politics, but by fire. Ben Gurion Airport, that massive fortress of concrete and glass that served as the proud gateway to the only democracy in the Middle East, lies devastated. Runways are cratered. The terminals, once bustling with tourists and birthright trips, are now smoldering ruins. And in the ashes, you have thousands of settlers, men, women, children, trapped, scrambling, and finally understanding a basic truth that the people of Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, and Iran have known for decades. When the bombs fall, your passport means nothing if you can't get to the runway. This is not a drill. And this is not the quick, decisive war that Benjamin Netanyahu sold to his people. The promises have evaporated. The so-called Iron Dome, once touted as a divine miracle of technology, has been exposed as the leaky sieve it always was against the sheer, overwhelming power of modern Iranian missiles. We have reports flooding in from Haifa, from Tel Aviv, from Ashkelon, cities that are now just hot, devastated war zones. The settlers are complaining, and it is a beautiful, tragic kind of justice to hear, that their bomb shelters are completely ineffective. Reports from just confirmed that safe rooms, even those in high-rise buildings, are being punctured. Missile warheads are landing precisely on the weak points. People are dying inside the places they were told would keep them alive. So, what is the logical conclusion? You run. You run to the airport. But the airport is gone. Before we dive deeper into the sheer scale of this collapse, into the protests, the hypocrisy, and the historical irony of it all.
So even the safe places during the bombing is not safe. Okay, and it says that these Iran is precisely hitting the weak points. Iran accuracy is crazy, man. Okay, Iran accuracy is crazy, man. You know, as the Iranian general, they should wear Steph Curry jerseys, man. They should all have those black, Golden State Steph Curry jerseys, man. Klay Thompson back when Klay was there still, man. The Splash Brothers, man. So they know what the weak points is in the building, and they getting hit.
I need you to do something. We are one of the few outlets left telling you the truth about what is happening in West Asia. We are not funded by IPAC. We don't take money from the Pentagon. We rely on you. If you believe in honest journalism, if you want to see the story that the corporate media is too afraid to tell, hit that like button. Share this video, smash the subscribe button, drop a comment for the algorithm, and turn on notifications. We are building a community here that refuses to look away. Now let's get back to it, because the situation on the ground is moving faster than the lies can keep up. The catalyst for this tsunami, as some are calling it, was not just the military reality, but a psychological one delivered directly by Tehran. Just hours ago, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi sat down with an American news network and delivered a statement that sent a cold shiver down the spine of every settler watching from a malfunctioning shelter. He said that Iran is not interested in a ceasefire. Let me repeat that. He said this time, it is not about a truce, not about a temporary halt to rearm. Iran wants a permanent end to the war. Araghchi stated explicitly that the United States and Israel would never be let off the hook to rearm. He pointed to the history, how they negotiated twice with the Americans, and twice the U.S. attacked them in the middle of those negotiations.
This Ramadan, inshallah, humanity is running a community hot meals in different spots in Yemen, in Sudan.
Would Iran ever agree to a ceasefire to get back to the negotiating table to end all of this military conflict?
Well, they have to explain why they started this aggression before we come to the point to even consider a ceasefire. Of course, nobody wants to continue this war. This is not our war. This is not the war of our choice. This is imposed on us by the United States, by Israelis. They have, started this war unprovoked, unwarranted, illegally, and what we are doing is legal act of self-defense, and we have every right to do that. So it is not fair that if only stops the aggression and ask us to stop too. As I said, this time is different.
Let me ask you about some of what Iran has been doing. Iran has launched hundreds of missiles at 13 other nations in the region. On Saturday, the Iranian president apologized for those strikes on neighboring Gulf states. Was it a mistake for Iran to attack its neighbors?
And see, they trying to play them word games. Okay, well, at the end of the day, Tehran was telling these folks for months what they was gonna do, how it was gonna go. They were telling them for months. Okay, and they was at the negotiating table with America, man. This is all the small hats in America, man. Y'all need to be having sit down with these small hats and these Americans, man. Okay. That's who y'all need to be having to sit down with. These people are defending their home territory. They killed their supreme leader. Okay? And now that Iran got the ups, now everybody want to tap out. Now everybody want to call a timeout. America ain't got no more timeouts. Okay? America ain't got no more timeouts. The small hat ain't got no more timeouts, man. They got to play the game now. This the game y'all chose to play. Okay. Okay, Eve, with that goddamn makeup on. I bet she looked terrible without that makeup on.
Well, it is a mistake if you consider that Iran is attacking its neighbors. No, we are not attacking our neighbors. We are attacking American bases, American, installations, American assets, which are unfortunately located in the soils of our neighbors. So we are not attacking our neighbors. We are attacking Americans who are attacking us.
This is where the narrative takes a turn that the propagandists in Washington and Tel Aviv cannot control. For the first time in a generation, a significant portion of the American populace is looking at this war and asking a very dangerous question. Why are we dying for Israel? We are seeing an intellectual revolt. There is a handle, Remaking Manhood, that just posted something that went viral because it cracked the code. The sentiment is spreading like wildfire. This is not America's war. This is Israel's war. Iran is not a threat to the cornfields of Iowa or the streets of Texas. The Iranian retaliation is for the assassination of their leaders, for the decades of sabotage, for the destruction of their diplomatic missions.
Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump have rushed into war in Iran because both of them are running out of time. Marco Rubio admitted that the Israelis told the Americans, we're going in whether you go in or not. And why did Netanyahu have to play that card? Because he knows the midterms are coming, and he knows that this is the first election in which candidates in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party will be judged on whether or not they took AIPAC money. That, coupled with our growing awareness that the entire Epstein operation was done on behalf of Israeli intelligence in order to get power and control over American political leaders and corporate leaders. Benjamin Netanyahu knows that Americans are angry at what Israel did in Gaza, which is a massive ongoing genocide. Now Netanyahu's rushing into southern Lebanon to do the same. This is a power grab and a land grab by a man who knows that if he fails to remain in office, he will face criminal prosecutions. Trump's up against the same math.
And back in Tel Aviv, that realization is mirrored in the streets, but from a completely different angle. We are seeing protests, but they are not the protests you might expect. There are two distinct movements happening simultaneously, and both are deadly for the unity of the state. First, you have the general public, the secular settlers, protesting the government's handling of the war. But their protest reeks of hypocrisy. Protest reeks of hypocrisy. They are angry because they are scared. They're not protesting the immorality of bombing Iran or the illegality of occupying Palestinian land. No, they are protesting because the false sense of security they enjoyed while sipping lattes in Tel Aviv has been shattered. They are angry that their government failed to protect them. It is a selfish colonial panic. They watched for 15 months as Gaza was decimated, as children were pulled from rubble, as a population was starved, and they cheered their soldiers on. But now that the missiles are flying the other way, now that their precious safe rooms are tombs, they take to the streets? It is the most telling indictment of the settler colonial mindset. They genuinely believed the violence would only ever flow one way, outwards. They forgot that resistance exists. Then, there is the second wave of protest, and this one is far more significant historically. The ultra-Orthodox, the Haredim, are taking to the streets in massive numbers. But they are not protesting the war because it is dangerous. They are protesting the very essence of the state. For years, they have refused to serve in the military, claiming their study of the Torah is their true protection. Now, they are pointing at the smoldering cities and saying, "We told you so." They see this state, this secular Zionist project, as a false messiah.
So now you got these protests, all right? And these, like he said, they're not protesting the wickedness of, all right, the Israeli regime. They're just protesting that their Iron Dome don't work, okay? Because they used to be protected while their government went and did wickedness in their region, all right? They was protected, okay? But now, all right, that they're getting hit, now that they're getting pummeled, now that they're pulling their children and sons and daughters out of the rubble, now they want to protest, man. And no one's feel sorry for these small hats, man. Nobody, man. Okay? There's absolutely no sympathy in the earth for what's happening to these small hats, man. Matter of fact, most people are cheering it on. Matter of fact, let's see real quick. Because let's go to the comment board on videos like this. Okay. When you go here, pull the video back up. You go to the comment board, man. Hey, people are cheering Iran on. Okay. All right. You look at the comments, it said, leaving the land they stole from Palestine, very fitting. I believe they call it karma. As you had no mercy for those kids in Gaza, you shall receive none in return. Good riddance. All right. That's not even 5% of what they did in Gaza, Palestine. All right. Your content is so true. It says, wow, the cowards are now running with their tails between their legs. Okay. Or it says, we are Iran and Iran is us and so is Gaza. Okay. No sympathy, man. Okay. It says rats are fleeing the sinking ship. Karma has a habit of surprising you when you least suspect it. Okay. So you see nothing but mockery. Okay. To these small hats, man. Okay. Nothing but you look at the same comments, the same sentiment, man. Boom, boom, Tel Aviv, Iran, well done. Okay. As an Australian, I definitely stand with Iran. Hey, so there's this sentiment, all right, there's sympathy. Matter of fact, if a brother can get that real quick, before we segue to the next video, if a brother can get that, it's Isaiah 32:5 in the NLT Bible shop. Okay, I'm gonna pull up this next video and read some comments you brothers got. Okay, well, let's go here. I think it's another one. Let's go here. This the brother. All right. GMS Virgin Island Straight Gate. This is Sirach 25:7. Said there be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy. In the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man to have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy, man. And we in these times, man, we're seeing our power do it. We're seeing the Lord actually do this, man. No, the Lord is actually going forth with this, man. bringing this man down. Okay, the Lord is actually going forth with bringing this man down. He's done. He's over. He ain't no coming back from this, man. The Lord is showing us that he's all right. The Esau is done. The Lord is showing us that Esau is done, man. Okay, and we already know how it plays out. We know that he got this MOTB plot twist, and we know that this war is going to lead to civil unrest. Okay, because it's going to crash the global economy. Okay, and the devil is going to whip out this MOTB as the savior, man. All right, and he's going to make it mandatory. He's out of here, man. Okay, but we're witnessing this man fall. He's scrambling. He's weary. Nigga trying to do a tough surrender. You can't surrender tough, man. Nigga, the fact that you guys surrender, that cancels out being tough. Okay? So this nigga is weary, man, and he's sprung out. Okay? You know, we got our little, you know, because, hey, what Esau going through, whatever we got is light, man. You know, we got, you know, little bills, you know, probably car problem, you know, your woman might be tripping or something, whatever, you know, but that's light compared to what this nigga got going. Esau got a way bigger problem than what we got. Okay? This nigga trying to be the most high on earth with AI. So this nigga got way bigger problems, man, and he's actually trying to pull it off. Okay? So let's go here, just the brother Amar Cabal. It says, Isaiah 32:5, it says, in that day, ungodly fools would not be heroes, scoundrels would not be respected. Okay? Scoundrels would not be respected, man. And he's an ungodly fool, and he's been able to play the hero and the victim for a long time. That narrative is broken, man. Okay? If a brother can put that 2 Corinthians 10:4 in the NLT on the comment board as well. Okay? Yep. Let's go here. This is brother GMS in his likeness, Job 18:11. It says, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. Okay, he's driven to his feet. You see, he went from a place of, and there was a time when this nigga, when the elites were just generations ahead of everyone. Okay, they had everyone in the deep enchantment, everyone's in the deep sleep. Okay, but the Lord awakened the prophets. All right, and the prophets done shook the game up through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. Now everyone is caught up to this nigga, man. A lot of people done caught up to this nigga. Prophecy done caught up to him. He ain't generations ahead anymore. He's step for step now. And like I say, it's to the point that, you know, the Lord got us waiting on this nigga, man. Because we know what he got to do. We was waiting on him to go to war with Iran. You know, now we're just waiting on this MOTB. You see, so the Lord got us ahead of the game through prophecy, man, to where we waiting on him now. You see? This nigga behind, see now, all right, he's behind the 8 ball, and time is a major factor, man. Okay, even time has this nigga terrorized. Think about it, even time is a terror to this nigga, man. Okay, the Most High got this nigga on the shot clock. You see? Reading on, it says, his strength shall be hunger bitten, okay, and destruction shall be ready at his side, man. Okay, so now the devil walked himself into the trap of his own destruction, man. Okay, all them data centers in America gonna get nuked. Okay, all this enchantments, you know, the people, okay, you know, drunk off the wine of Babylon. He spent a lot of time and energy enchanting the masses, man, through media, the movies. All this finna be destroyed, man. Okay. So let's and the brother can get that too. 2 Peter chapter 3, I think verses 10 through 13. Okay. All right, let's go here. This is the brother Mark Ball. 2 Corinthians 10:4 says in NLT, it says we use the Most High's mighty weapons, not worldly ones, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments, man. Okay, and it's hard for these devils to make the argument that they're not the wicked. It's hard for these small heads to keep saying they're the chosen people, man. And it's through the spirit of this word, okay, that's been knocking down all these strongholds and human reasoning and false arguments, man. Okay, the truth begins with the prophets, man. Okay, the exposing of Esau begins with the prophets, man. Okay, so let's play this because they say, you know, a few Israeli, all right, leaders have been taken off the board, man. You know, we'll see, and you know, because they'll never tell it like how, you know, Iran, they when they leaders get killed, they show it. They put the pictures up and everything like this, you know. But these small heads, America, man, you won't know till months later, man. Okay, but they saying that Iran struck a compound, okay, a bunker, showing you that Iran is getting through bunkers, man. Okay, Iran strapped down over there, man. We were telling it, but young, we were telling them. I don't know if the brother's still here. You know, we were telling them, man. Okay, I don't know what they think this gonna be, but it ain't gonna be that. Let's play this.
Welcome. We are witnessing history being written in real time. And it is a history that the corporate media in the West is doing everything in its power to bury. If you are just joining us, we have to start with the seismic, unconfirmed reports that are shaking the Zionist entity to its very core. According to a flurry of posts on X and whispers within the intelligence community, the unthinkable may have happened. A precision Iranian strike has obliterated a key leadership bunker in occupied Palestine.
According to unverified reports, an Iranian missile has struck what is believed to be one of Israel's largest underground wartime shelters in Tel Aviv, a heavily protected facility reportedly used by Israeli leaders during major conflicts.
Dramatic footage circulating online claims a powerful Iranian missile has struck a major underground shelter in Tel Aviv, a site some commentators are calling Bibi's bunker, linked to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
The target, it seems, was not just any military installation. Sources are reporting that the strike, which also leveled the private residence of Benjamin Netanyahu, has left a catastrophic human toll. Among the missing and presumed dead are two of the most odious figures in the regime, National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and the Prime Minister's own brother, Ido Netanyahu. This was not a random barrage. This was a decapitation strike of the highest order, a direct response to the assassination of Iran's former supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, by U.S. and Israeli forces. And it signals a terrifying new phase in this war, courtesy of Iran's new generation of cluster missiles, weapons that are proving to be so advanced, so devastating that they are turning the vaunted Iron Dome into little more than a fireworks display. For days now, we've watched the sky over Tel Aviv turn orange, not from a sunset, but from relentless barrages of Iranian fire that are getting through. The occupation regime is panicking. They are literally removing CCTV cameras across the country, scrubbing the internet of footage, and imposing a blackout on casualty numbers because the devastation Netanyahu has brought upon his own people in his quest to destroy Iran is now too immense to hide. The narrative of the invincible Israel is over, and what remains is a smoldering wasteland of their own making. Before we go any further, I have to ask you to help us keep this light shining. The mainstream media won't show you the rubble in Tel Aviv, and they certainly won't tell you about the Iranian precision that caused it. They are too busy carrying water for their masters in Washington and Tel Aviv. If you value independent journalism that tells you the truth about Palestinian resistance and the crumbling of Western hegemony, hit that like button, share this broadcast with everyone you know, and subscribe. We are here to document the liberation, not the occupation. Your support is the only thing keeping us on the air. Now, let's get into the sheer magnitude of what has just happened. The news broke just hours ago, following a massive salvo launched by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This wasn't just another round of retaliatory fire to satisfy the headlines. This was surgical. This was revenge. The strike that took out the leadership bunker was reportedly pinpoint accurate, targeting a location deep underground that was supposedly unknown to Iranian intelligence. But as we've seen throughout this conflict, Iranian intelligence has penetrated the Zionist state at every level. For months, the occupation has been reeling from a string of humiliating intelligence failures, and now we see the result. Their leadership was caught gathered in a hardened bunker, likely coordinating the next phase of their genocide, only to be buried under it by a missile they couldn't stop. Let's talk about the two men who are now missing, and likely burning in hell where they belong. First, Itamar Ben-Gvir. If you don't know this name, you need to understand the evil it represents. This man is not a politician. He is a terrorist in a suit, a disciple of the racist Rabbi Meir Kahane. As National Security Minister, he has spent his entire tenure arming extremist settlers, transforming the West Bank into a shooting gallery where Palestinians are hunted for sport. He has personally encouraged the police to open fire on civilians. He has stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound to provoke a religious war, and his rhetoric is so genocidal that he once celebrated a deadly attack on Palestinians by calling for the destruction of their villages. This is a man who keeps a portrait of Barak Goldstein, the settler who massacred 29 Palestinians in a mosque, hanging in his home as a hero. Ben-Gvir represents the pure, unvarnished face of fascism that has taken over the Israeli government. He is the architect of much of the suffering in Gaza and the West Bank, and that is precisely why Iran targeted him. He was the ideological head of the snake, the one pushing hardest for the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. If he is dead, and the early reports suggest the bunker took a direct hit, then a great evil has been lifted from this earth. Then there is Ido Netanyahu. He isn't a soldier or a politician, so why would he be in a command bunker? Ido is the prime minister's younger brother, a playwright and a physician. But more importantly, he is the family's consigliere. He has been deeply involved in shaping the international narrative, running damage control for his brother's corruption trials, and acting as a liaison to the hardline settler movements. His presence in that bunker suggests a family war council, a meeting of the dynasty that has brought so much pain to the region. Having both the political head of the fascist movement and the brother of the prime minister vaporized in a single strike is not just a military victory. It is a psychological hammer blow to the morale of the occupation. And how did Iran achieve this? Through technological brilliance and a defiance that the West simply cannot comprehend. We have to say that clearly. For years, we were told it was the most advanced air defense system on the planet, a miracle shield that could intercept anything. But Iran's new cluster missiles have exposed it for the fraud it always was. These missiles are designed to overwhelm defenses. Upon re-entry, they disperse dozens of submunitions, what an Israeli analyst on Channel 12 desperately tried to downplay as rain bombs that saturate the sky. The Iron Dome can only fire one interceptor per target, and it relies on radar. When you have dozens of high-speed projectiles coming down like meteors, the system short-circuits. It misses. And when it misses, the results are catastrophic. We are seeing videos, despite the censorship, of massive craters in the Gush Dan region, of buildings collapsed in Tel Aviv, of fires raging in Haifa. This brings us to the censorship. The Zionists are masters of propaganda, but you can't Photoshop rubble. Reports from inside occupied Palestine indicate that authorities are going street to street, removing private CCTV cameras to prevent homeowners from uploading footage of the strikes. They are threatening journalists with arrest if they show the real scale of the damage. Why? Because they don't want the world to see that Startup Nation is burning. A retired U.S. Army Colonel, Lawrence Wilkerson, was quoted in Iranian media admitting that the amount of damage being inflicted on Tel Aviv is very bad, and that the attacks are relentless. Even American analysts are admitting that the regime is taking a severe beating. And yet, our news anchors in the West are still talking about de-escalation and diplomatic solutions, while Netanyahu's home is a crater. Let's be very clear about the hypocrisy of the Western outrage machine. We are now seeing headlines wringing their hands over Iran's use of cluster munitions. The Jerusalem Post is running stories about 2 killed by cluster bombs, painting Iran as a dangerous aggressor. But where was this outrage when phosphorus on Lebanon? Just yesterday, Human Rights Watch confirmed that.
Yeah, man. So you have the speculation, man, that this Secretary of State, all right, Ben Gvir, all right, which was a damn demon, okay, and Benjamin Netanyahu brother, okay, they got caught up in their strike, man. Okay, Iran out here catching hats, all right, small hats at that. Okay, so we'll see. It'll come out, it'll be confirmed. But hey, they saying they missing after that strike. They've been missing. Okay, so these small hats, they're done. All right, and the small hats don't stand a chance. If America wasn't involved, okay, the small hats would have been done that first weekend. Okay, that first weekend, the small hats would have been out of there. Okay, I think I got. Oh yeah, I wanted to show. Oh yeah, I wanted to show this. Scott really explained what these what happened when they blew their school up. Scott really gonna explain what happened. So let's play this real quick. This is the last one I got. This is the last one I'll play today on Ratazar.
Ritter is a former U.S. Marine. He explains in details just how the American Tomahawk missile mercilessly and deliberately slaughtered 170 innocent girls of an elementary school in Minab on the very first day of this illegal war.
The United States, on the opening day of the war, fired 4 cruise missiles into a facility that was evacuated by the Revolutionary Guard Command long before the conflict. One of these missiles struck a school. The fourth missile, 3 missiles, 2 missiles struck empty warehouses, 1 struck a school. The fourth missile was loitering over the site, collecting data, sending it back for battle damage assessment. The 2 warehouses were empty, no secondary explosions. But the third site that they struck, they noticed an accumulation of human beings, people running to the site. And so they ordered the 4th missile to strike. The 4th missile went up, came down, and hit. The missile is designed to penetrate with a bunker-busting capability, but there's an additional factor to this missile. Our brilliant weapons designers have concluded that the excess fuel in a Tomahawk missile at the moment of impact can actually be weaponized into a thermobaric weapon, a fuel-air explosive. And so they hit the button, turned the excess fuel into a thermobaric, and the people they saw running were the children who survived the initial attack. They went to the prayer hall with their teachers. So the movement you saw were survivors going into the building, teachers with them, parents come to them, and we put the 4th cruise missile in there, turned it into a thermobaric bomb, and burned these children alive. That's this war in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're targeting. And all we're doing is murdering people. And you know why this happened? Because Pete Hegseth canceled a Department of Defense directive that required a civilian mitigation team to go over each target to make sure that we weren't striking the wrong targets. He called that woke. He called that ineffective. He wanted to be the most lethal fighting force in the world. Kill, kill, kill. Well, Pete, you killed them. 170 of them. Children. You're a murderer. You're a war criminal. And so is Donald Trump. And so is every American who supports this war. Because this war is an illegal war of aggression. We aren't obeying the laws of war. And we're simply slaughtering innocent people to appease a bunch of neoconservatives who have an outdated concept of what the world should look like and who have completely subordinated the interests of the United States to the state of Israel. And I apologize for losing my temper. But I'm a father of 2 girls, and I would hunt down and kill anybody who brought harm to my children.
And you got to remember, Scott is ex-Marine. And how do you think all these veterans in America feel? Okay. You got a lot of able-bodied, Special Forces, Marine, Army, military, Air Force, and they feel the same way. Went into that guy Nick Irvin, ex-Delta Force, man. A lot of those guys are pissed, man, what's going on and what America is standing for, standing with these small heads, man. So that's going to play a factor, man. Okay? But America, going back to burning those children alive, they're going to them offering unto Molech. You know, they turned those weapons, all right, to a thermobaric, all right, weapon. They burnt those children alive. And they did that for a sacrifice to Molech at the beginning of this war. But guess what? That sacrifice not helping them, man. Now they can sacrifice to Molech all they want. It's not going to stop the judgment of the Lord. Okay? So let's play this. Yeah, let's go. Let's get this thing the brother posted for me. Let's go here to yeah, this the brother. All right, GMS Virginia out of Straight Gate. 2 Peter 3:10 said, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And that's those nukes, man. Okay, because people are oblivious to what's going on, you know, because Western media has people in a false reality. Okay, so they believe the exact opposite, man. And I can see why, you know, we should see why it's going to be a thief in the night, man, because Esau's propaganda has people in a completely alternative reality, completely in the false reality, man. Okay, there's people that think America just over there kicking ass right now, man. Okay, they think that their country is over there dominating, man, and it's the exact opposite. Okay, you'll never know America is losing listening to Western media. Okay, you'll never know how bad a situation is listening to Western media, man. Okay, and that's why this time is going to be like a thief in the night, man. All right, a lot of Americans are going to know how bad it is until those nukes are in the air. Okay, and it says the earth and also the works that are therein shall be burnt up. You know, everything that the devil, you know, has built up, this whole DPI, digital public infrastructure, this shit gonna be burnt up, man. All data centers, man. Okay, all this surveillance, all this gonna be burnt up, man. Okay, and that's why this third world war is gonna be so destructive, man. That's gonna be the Lord, all right, demolishing everything that the devil has built up in the earth, man. Okay, verse 11 it says, yeah, 2 Peter 3:11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, man? So what persons are we to be? What manner should we be in, man? We should be detached from this world, man. We should be having an expectation beyond this world, this age, man. You know, we do what we gotta do to maintain ourselves in our, you know, current situation, man. But we should have a mind that's beyond this world, that's beyond this age. This place is done. We're watching the closing act. You know, we're watching the Heavenly Father close the curtains on this place, man. And we got everything to look forward to, man. So what manner of person ought we to be, man? You know, we should be rejoicing in the works of our power. Okay? And we should be looking forward to Yahweh Shai ushering in the throne of David, man, which is the throne of righteousness in the earth. Okay? So going back to verse 12, it says, looking forth and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat and nuclear destruction. Okay, verse 13. Nevertheless, we according to his promise, look for new heavens and the new earth where dwelleth in righteousness, man. Okay, this World War III is the cutting asunder of the times. Okay, this is where the Lord is going to end. All right, the age of the heathen ran by Esau Edom, and begin the age of Israel. All right, ran by Yahweh Shai in righteousness, man. Okay, so this is the cutting asunder of times that we're in. All right, the Lord is finna answer all prayers. You know, so that was the point. You know, just wanted to get into it this morning. You know, Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sister was edified once again. Again, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Mukafendash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the whole flex. Shalom.